Genesis chapter 19. Angels visit Lot. And there came two angels to Sodom at evening, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, Behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and you shall rise up early, and go on your ways. And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the street all night. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned into him, and entered into his house. And he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called to Lot, and said to him, Where are the men which came into you this night? Bring them out to us, and we may know them. And Lot went out to the door to them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have two daughters which I have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out to you, and do you to them as is good in your eyes. Only to these men do nothing. For therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they said, Stand back. And they said again, This one fellow came into sojourn, and he will needs to be judged. Now will we deal worse with you than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand, and pulled Lot into the house to them, and shut to the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they were wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said to Lot, Have you here any besides son-in-law, and your sons and your daughters, and whatsoever you have in the city? Bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxed great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy the city. But he seemed as one that mocked to his sons-in-law. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take your wife, and your two daughters which are here, lest you consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his two daughters, the Lord being merciful to him. And they brought him forth, and set him outside the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for your life. Look not behind you, neither stay in you in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest you be consumed. And Lot said to them, O not so many, Lord. Behold, now your servant has found grace in your sight, and you have magnified your mercy, which you have showed to me in saving my life. And I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die. Behold, now this city is near to flee to, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape there. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live. And he said to him, See, I have accepted you concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city for the time for which you have spoken. Haste you, escape there, for I can do nothing, or I cannot do anything till you come there. Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of the heaven, and he overthrew these cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Lord, and looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace. And it came to pass, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot dwelt, and dwelt in the mountains, and his two daughters with him, for he feared to dwell in Zoar. And he dwelt in a cave, and his two daughters. And the firstborn said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth. Sorry. Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come into us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night. And the firstborn went in and lay with her father, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. And it came to pass on the morrow, that the firstborn said to the younger, Behold, I lay last night with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also, and go you in and lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night also. And the younger arose and lay with him, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. And the firstborn bore a son, and called his name Moab. The same is the father of the Moabites to this day. And the younger she also bore a son, and called his name Ben-Ammi, the same as the father of the children of the Ammon to this day. We can just see there it says that Lot's two daughters slept with him to have his children, so that his lineage and bloodline, seed line, that's what I mean by seeing his lineage and bloodline can continue through them. But because of that, it tells us who the firstborn, who is the father of the Moabites generations, is from this ancestral act. And the Ben-Ammi is the father of the Ammonites, I think it would be, or Ammon. Anyway, that's quite an interesting chapter. Come back to see the continuation.